All right, we'll get started. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session today. My name is Jeanette McDonald, and I'm the Public Trust Coordinator with the Nova Scotia Federation of Agriculture. Today, I'm going to be leading you through our first session on using social media to share your story. I'm going to be focusing on social media basics and creating and scheduling content today. So this is meant to be an interactive session, so feel free to ask questions. And we're scheduled to be together for about an hour, so we'll get going. We know that connecting on shared values is 3 to 5 times more powerful than facts when it comes to earning trust. So building trust is really about connecting on shared values and not just educating the public. We spent some time here at the Federation kind of trying to come up with a definition of what is public trust. And it's hard to define, but we describe it as when people believe in and have peace of mind in food and farming in Nova Scotia. But in order to connect on shared values, you need to know your values and the values of the people you're communicating to. So take some time to identify the values you hold for you and your business. Values could be legacy, family, honesty, hard work, reliability, etc. But identifying values is an important step in sharing your story because they are the foundation of who you are and why you farm or operate your business the way that you do. But I'll get into a few more examples later on. This slide was something, this top sentence, matter to me, don't market to me, resonated with me in a recent webinar that I took part in. So any business or organization can share on social media. You don't have to be selling a product on social media or wanting to contribute. So I'm not going to go over a sales or marketing strategy and using social media. So that's something that you can certainly do, but we're not going to have it as a focus for today. And I'm not saying that using social media for marketing or sales is wrong or bad, but that's not what we're up to today. So if you do sell online or through social media, you can also share your story and not only focus on products that you have for sale. So the title Matter to Me, Don't Market to Me comes from Joanne MacArthur, who is the president and founding partner of Nourish Food Marketing. And this is really the core of building trust and connecting on shared values. Your audience knows what matters to them and don't need you to constantly market or communicate what you think they want to hear. So they want to know more about what your values are and how they are reflected in your farm or your business. And I added this little bit in this morning, actually, after reading, an email communication that came through from Christina Crowley-Arkley, who is a communication specialist in Ontario. And she had a piece on storytelling, which I thought was really reflective of what we're talking about today. So storytelling or communicating and our why, so explaining what you do, why you do it, and the emotion behind it is how we can effectively communicate to get our story across. So storytelling and our why, our emotions, and being vulnerable at the same time are at the heart of everything we do as human beings, and connecting with others and how we can effectively communicate to get our story across. So your values, values are the qualities and attributes that you honor and admire. Being able to easily articulate your values will require that you spend some time reflecting and thinking about them. Think about past experiences and people you feel good about and admire and why that is, and your values will start to shine through for you. If your business has a vision and mission statement, that's really good. Values are held within here as well. So values can be things like family, hard work, integrity, creativity, love, joy, adventure, teamwork, humor, leadership, wealth, and much more. Values will also shine through your vision and mission statement. So if you have them on social media, that's great. There's options that you can build that into your social media pages. But you can also make them into posts, videos, and stories. So if you don't have a vision statement and a mission statement, that's something that I would suggest that you take a look at doing. And I've also seen this referred to as brand community. So when you're talking about your values from your business and your vision and your mission statements and all of those things, it's really a part of your brand. And when you're communicating that online, you're building a brand community. And that's when you've got people surrounding you who believe in your business and what it stands for. So I have an article that I'll include on my follow-up email with the slides from today, because it does have some good points in it when it's talking about brand community. And so if you're already on social media and you see people that are, continuously liking your post or sharing your content, then that would be referred to as being part of your brand community. So public values are a little harder sometimes to know and be able to define. And for anyone that's using social media already, you're going to have an audience, and knowing what your audience values are can be really difficult sometimes. So this is a broad look at public values, and it's using data from the Canadian Centre for Food Integrity. So these are some of the values that are a priority for Canadians and Nova Scotians reflected to food and agriculture. So one of the #1 concerns, and has been for the past number of years, has been the cost of food and the rising cost of food, nutrition and healthy eating, food safety, environmental sustainability, and animal welfare. And I'm sure those are of no surprise to you guys. Other values can include things like legacy, overall sustainability, a feeling of community or community building, etc. So it's difficult to know what values someone holds until you start to have a conversation. So as you are posting on social media and conversing on social media, the people that are, liking your content and coming back to your page, get to know who those people are, and see what, I'm sure that they're probably have similar values if they keep coming back. But the point on connecting on shared values is to not try and shift your values to match what the public values. It's to start with the ones that do have overlap and have conversation from there. So I'm sure that the cost of food is a value that you hold and understand what that means to you and your own family, and what it means to other families and Canadians. So begin to develop trust from these shared values, the things that you're already connecting on. And when values don't align on something like maybe it's GMOs, then you can go back to the values that you did connect on. It's important to always come back to the things that you can agree on. If there's something that you have some folks that don't necessarily agree on, and it's okay to not agree on everything. You're not looking for a 100% approval rating here. It's really about being authentic and sharing and building a connection. And when that doesn't happen with people on your page, it's time to move on. So either you or them, but you don't have to keep trying to build a relationship that it may not be there. So I mentioned brand community, and I'm just going to have a little bit more on your brand. So branding is really who you are or who you want to be and who people perceive you to be. And it's really marketing. So by creating a name, a symbol, or a design, which is a logo, that identifies and differentiates a product or business from others. And your promise and value proposition to your customers, so how you stand out. I bring this up because we have some free training available from utensil.ca. We have seats for growing your brand. And if people are interested in that, I'm going to also include that registration link if you want to do that course as well. You can apply and we can get you set up to do the branding exercise with Utensil. It's all online and it's at your own pace. So there's videos and some documents that you download and work along at your own pace. So that's something that is normally about $100, but we have seats available for people if they're interested. I'm sure that you're really familiar with a lot of the social media platforms that are out there. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat. Those are really kind of the big, most popular ones already. But social media is a computer-based technology that facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through the building of virtual networks and communities. And I like that definition. I mean, it's really about, sharing ideas and thoughts and having conversation. It's probably not used for that a lot of the time, but that's really the intent of social media. And there are more than 4.5 billion social media users around the world. So it's huge. There's a lot of people that are using social media. The largest social media networks are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Social media typically features user-generated content and personalized profiles. And so the personalized profiles come in the form of your own personal pages, but also business and community pages. And next year, the number of social media users in the United States is forecast to increase to over 257 million people. That's a lot of Americans using social media. I don't have the numbers on Canadians, but it's a lot of people. If you have your phones really close to you, then you can just hold up your camera and turn your phone on to camera mode and hold it up to the QR code that's there to take a picture. You should have a link that pops up that you can click on to vote. What social media platforms are you already using? Or you can go to slido.com and then put in the number code 007564. So I'll leave that there for a second just to see what people are using. Me personally, I'll admit that I'm on all of the social media platforms that are popping up here: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat. For Meet Your Farmer, we're currently on just Facebook and Instagram at the moment. So Facebook and Instagram seem to be the big ones here, which is no surprise. It's really what the population looks like. And Twitter comes in third place, and then TikTok and Snapchat closing up the end. So on stats, I just wanted to kind of point out one thing about each of these platforms. Facebook, there's 2.8 billion monthly active users worldwide. So in each month, we see that there's 2.8 billion people using that app. On Instagram, the like button is hit 4.2 million times per day. On Twitter, 70% of users are male versus 30% female. This is, I think, the only social media site where there's more male than female, from what I could find in stats. If on other webinars that we do on the Lunch and Learns, we're going to get into kind of audience and things like that, and you'll be able to see who your audience is. And a lot of times, just on what I've seen on Meet Your Farmer, we have more female viewers than male. 77% of adults in the US use YouTube, which is that 3/4 of the population, adult population, is using YouTube. On Snapchat, there's over 5 billion snaps created every day. And on TikTok, 62% of users are under age 30. So that's an important stat to know if you're looking to reach out to a younger demographic. TikTok is really made up of a lot of younger users. And for anyone that has younger family, teenagers or youth, if it's communicated as much in my house about TikTok, which they don't have TikTok accounts, my children, but they are always talking about TikTok dances or something on TikTok. It seems to go into a lot of other aspects as well, rather than just staying on that platform. I saw a couple of graphics that I wanted to share. So Social Media Explained. If you're on Twitter, you're eating a donut. If you're on Facebook, you're sharing that you like donuts. On Instagram, here's a vintage photo of my donut. On YouTube, here I am eating a donut, or it might even be making donuts. And then Pinterest, which I'm not really going to talk about a lot today. Here's a donut recipe. So you would post pictures and recipe of it. And that kind of just shows like what kind of content you might find on social media. And I had to include this one. Nothing shows maturity better than a good public fight on the internet. Oh, look, they turned on the cat blocks. This is serious now. And I really hope this is something that you don't engage in when you're on social media, but I'm sure we've all seen it, especially the last 2 years with a lot of things going on. And for me, this one resonated on expectation and reality of social media. So LOL selfie is the expectation of looking like you're having a good time. But the reality is that there is a lot of work behind the scenes on social media. And if you're using it and want to kind of understand your impact on using it, then there's a lot in the back end, which we'll talk about in other presentations. Social media to watch. I'm personally not on any of these. I did look at a couple of them. So Discord, Caffeine, Twitch, and Clubhouse. Some of these are kind of related to gaming. If you have any video game enthusiasts in your families, you might have seen these already, but these could be trends and opportunities to look into. If you're looking for other social media platforms to kind of be cutting edge on, then these would be the ones that I would take a look at. So the social media platforms you want to use depend on what you want to achieve by using social media. So do you want to increase sales? Do you want to communicate with your family and your community? Do you want to make funny videos? Do you want to go viral? So is this something that you want to do because you want to be famous? Do you want to, if you want to select 1 or 2 social media platforms to focus on, make sure that they are best suited to what you want to achieve. So if you're looking, for that viral hit and to really get your name out, I would take a look at TikTok. Or use Instagram on Reels. But if you're looking to communicate with your family and community, then perhaps Facebook is more suited to you. So, and if you're looking to grow revenue or sell more product, then that would be something I would take a look at for the apps that you can link sales onto. So Facebook and Instagram, you can set up shops, or if you want it to integrate into your online store that you already have existing, like a website or something, then that's something that you should take a look at as well when you're looking to see which social media platforms you're using. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second because I want to see you guys. And because I couldn't see who was kind of using Facebook already or kind of what platform. So I'm not going to go into this too heavily, but if you all are already on Facebook and have Facebook pages, then this is going to be some content that you've already seen. But if you're new to it, you may have a profile or have been operating your business under a profile. I'm just going to get into a little bit of setting up a page. And now that Facebook and Instagram are kind of owned by the same company, then there's a lot more things that you should be taking a look at when you have both of those social media pages, which I suspect a lot of you have both just based on the poll that we did. So there's a few tips just to keep in mind when we're doing that. I'm going to pause for a second. Does anybody have any questions so far or comments they want to make? Nope. All right, I'll jump back in. So setting up Facebook, farms and businesses should have a page. So in order to set up a page, you have to have a personal Facebook account, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So once you have a profile, you can create a page from a computer or a mobile device. You don't have to have a computer to do it. You would go to facebook.com/pages and click create a new page and fill out as much information as you can when you're doing that page setup. If you don't want to complete your page setup at one time, you can unpublish your page so it's not visible. So if you decide that you want to set up a Facebook page and you don't have all of the content you need, you can go ahead and get started, but just unpublish your page so it doesn't look unfinished. So it's there as a draft, really, and then once you're done, you can click publish, and it will become public again. One point that I really want to make is that your username is important. So your username should be the same across all social media channels. So for Meet Your Farmer at the Federation, it's at NSFA Meet Your Farmer, and that's what we are on Instagram and Facebook. And it's really important because when you're sharing your name, then it's something that's just one, you don't have to have links to go to separate pages. Find us on social media at NSFA Meet Your Farmer. But then also when you're, if there's people that are tagging you in content, or you want them to tag you in content, then it's really easy to just give that one at username handle. So that's one point that I think is important. And then when you're filling out information, you want to add a profile picture and a cover photo. And I think it's important that these are cropped and fitted well. So if I think a good profile picture is often your logo, because if people are scrolling the sites, then they can just easily identify whose page it is. And then a cover photo can be something a little more creative. So if you have, it can be seasonal, or a favorite picture that you have. But I would add your logo, if you have one, on top of that cover photo, maybe down in like the top corner or the left corner. And those should be sized differently. So your profile picture on Facebook and your cover photo on Facebook have different size requirements, and that's something that we'll go over in our next Lunch and Learn if you want to learn more about that. I was going to go into a page setup, but I'm not going to. I'll take the time and we'll go through kind of the manager page instead. On Instagram, so if you're not on Instagram already, this is a very mobile device driven app, so a smartphone is best. They have allowed you to do more now from a desktop or like laptop computer application. Before you couldn't even like make a post on Instagram if it wasn't on a mobile device, but now you can put content onto Instagram from a computer. So if you're getting set up in Instagram, you need to download the app and then set up your account by filling out your information and adding pictures. It's certainly not as extensive as a Facebook page in terms of content and what you need in kind of your profile. So Instagram is a little tricky. If you are like a not-for-profit or a business, there can be it can be challenging to kind of get links added in. So you'll see on the Federation Meet Your Farmers Instagram, there's a link tree. And that's because we have a lot of different links that we want to send to people, but you can't just add them into your posts, or we can't. So we have them all in this Linktree app. So it's a separate account that you would set up. And then you can add in, so we have our YouTube link, we have a Facebook link, some resources that we've created that are online, links to that, websites, all of that stuff is housed in that link tree. So if you click on that, then that's how you'll get to the other destinations that we're trying to get you to see. And Linktree will also give you stats. So if you want to see how many people have gone on your Instagram and then followed a link to the page, that's available through there. All right. So on Instagram, there's a bit more options on how you create content. So you can do posts that will be housed in your grid. So posts are graphics that you add to your grid, and they should have a caption included to describe what the picture is about and to direct viewers to any sources of information, or if you're tagging partners or have a website that you want them to go to. You would put that into the description portion of it as a caption. It doesn't need to be part of the photo. So if you have a photo that you want to pop on Instagram, then it would be written in the description when you create the post. The next option is Instagram Reels, and I'm going to show you a couple of reels. I'm not I've not made a lot of reels. It's not my wheelhouse. So I'm going to show you some people that do a better job at reels, but reels are very popular right now. They're a newer feature to Instagram, and they are projected to take a more prominent role in the app. They have their own button. So that little icon with the black triangle in the middle is reels. And if you want to go on Instagram and just watch reels, you can click on that and keep just scrolling, and they will come one after the other. You don't have to be following the people to watch reels. They'll come from all Instagram users, which is a really great tool if you're looking to expand your reach, is to create reels, and then hopefully they'll be popping into people's Instagram feeds. Reels are a little bit harder to create because there's a bit more involved in them. You can blend videos together, you can blend photos and videos together, you can add music or sound effects. So you're really editing a short video together when you create a reel. But it does give you the ability to upload pictures and videos stored on your phone. And then, or you can record live if there's something going on, and then add music and sound effects and special effects to it afterwards. So after I go through the rest, we'll take a look at a few reels. Stories, Instagram stories are those, it's a feature that appears at the top of your Instagram feed. So it's an option that's stored for 24 hours. Unless you add them to a highlight. So if you have a story that you've shared and you want it to stay on your page, you can add it as a highlight. So here you can add pre-recorded content or take a video or take a picture and edit that into a story. Stories can be any length. So I think it will eventually cut you off, but it doesn't have to be like a certain 5-second or 10-second or 20-second length. But if you are recording a story, sometimes you will get cut off. So just watch if you're doing like a conversational style story that everything that you're recording is getting uploaded properly. And you can record hands-free. So if you want to set up your phone and just chat for a few minutes without having to hold your phone up in front of you, that's an option. I would recommend that if you're going to do a lot of content like around your farm, that you invest in just an inexpensive tripod, so you can set up and do some hands-free recording. And videos. So this used to be IGTV. So IGTV has morphed into videos basically because long video is falling by the wayside, and reels and short videos are becoming more popular. So even on YouTube, you'll see that there's now YouTube Shorts, and that's for people that are more interested in that short clip, more of a few minutes of content rather than sitting down for a 20 or 30-minute video. But if you have videos created and you want to share them, Instagram will let you upload them. So you can, anything from a few seconds to 30 minutes of content or more can be uploaded as a video. It used to be that if it was over a minute, it would live in IGTV, and under a minute, it would live somewhere else. But now that everything is just kind of brought together in videos. So if you're uploading videos through Instagram, you're going to see on your profile, if you're not on your grid, you can click on the video button, which is the white arrow. You'll see all your videos housed there. And so they kind of just self-organize into videos rather than a separate IGTV upload. So if you've done IGTV uploads in the past, they now live here. It's really the same spot. But all of your short videos are in with them. So there's no definition between long or short, so under a minute or over a minute. So for Meet Your Farmer, we've been including our Open Farm Day videos that were done, and they get uploaded onto Instagram as well. And going live is the last feature. So your followers will get a notification when you are live. So it's when you go in and you want to create something new in Instagram, going live is an option. You click on it. It gives you like a couple of options to click before you're actually live. So if your kids get your phone or something happens and you accidentally click it when you're on it, it doesn't instantaneously make you live. It kind of gives you a checkpoint to make sure that's what you want to do. But live videos are if you want to share something in real time and want the ability for people to ask questions and have dialogue. So I suggest that live videos should be at least 5 minutes long, but you can go for quite a long time if people are engaged in the content that you're doing. A lot of the more live things that we've seen, especially during COVID, are live cooks or live things like that. So the example that comes to mind for me is some of the chefs. Chef Andy Hay did a live cook on Friday afternoon, and he invited families and children to cook along with him. And he had a couple of hundred people cooking along, making cookies with him on Friday afternoon. And that was done through the Instagram Live feature. And that session was about 45 minutes long. So there's no kind of, again, time limit that you have to try to get to a certain amount or fill a certain amount of space. When you're done, you just click end live video and that's it. So the going live feature is something that I would use not every day, but if you have something that's going on and you want to have conversation about it, it's a nice feature, especially as you're building your following, for people to just, click in, say hello, see what's going on and ask questions. This is a feature that we use during Open Farm Day now that we've switched to kind of the virtual option as well. So farms have the opportunity to do a live tour and can take questions. And this is through their own social media pages. And then people can hop on, do a farm tour, ask questions, and then it's saved as well if you want to keep that on your feed for later. All right, I'm going to try and show you some real life examples. I had to use that pun. So I think I have them already up in Instagram so I'm going to end this and stop sharing the screen and share another screen.
Can't stop thinking about it and just do it. I don't have it totally figured out yet. Learn on the go. I don't want to mess it up. But messing up is how we learn. Do the thing. I can't stop thinking about it and just do it. I don't have it totally figured out yet. Learn on the go. I don't want to mess it up. But messing up is how we learn. Do the thing. I can't.
So that reel is just kind of showing what a reel is. So, you're creating your first reel. Those are a really popular one where there's audio going on and you memorize it and create your own content around it. The next one I'm going to show you is a local farm that is doing a lot of reels, and they're quite funny. So I'm sure some of you already know who I'm referring to when or have an idea in mind of whose it might be. And I had to kind of sift through to make sure there was no swearing in it. So that might be another clue. Let me just get my presentation open.
Dark arts post, is that correct?
Yes.
But you were unsuccessful?
Obviously.
You applied first for the Defence Against the Dark Arts post, is that correct?
Yes.
But you were unsuccessful?
Obviously.
So Amy does a good job of kind of showing that what you're creating the reel around, the audio doesn't have to completely match up. You can take clips that you hear and then just put your own messaging over top to kind of give the same idea. She does at least a reel or two a day, and her tip on creating them and kind of remembering, because she does a great job of getting her mouth to match up to the words that are happening, is she'll download the audio. So if you're creating a reel, you can go through and listen to all these pre-recorded audio clips already. She'll get the audio and just play it over and over again. So as she's doing other farm chores, so it becomes something that she's just listening to and memorizes. And then when she goes to do the recording of the reel, then that's so she's more, she knows the content of the words that are coming up. So a well done reel is really fun and engaging. And then there are reels that, when your mouth isn't matching up and, a little more practice is needed. So I just wanted to share Amy's tip on if you are interested in creating reels, to listen to the audio for a bit before you click record. And I have one more, and this is really one that it's not local, but it is a farmer that just wanted to have a message on remembering to support one another.
Into it, so not approved by me. It's just never been my thing. Not into it, so not approved by me. It's just never been my thing. Not into it, so not approved by me. It's just never been my thing. Not into it, so not approved by me.
So you notice in all of those reels, they keep looping. So once you click on it, you'll hear it infinitely, like it won't stop. So you have to click back out of it, especially on a desktop. But so if you're scrolling on Instagram, then it is really engaging for people to be able to see them, because you may stop and watch it a couple of times to really kind of get the messaging or the content that's happening. Any questions on Instagram or Facebook? Nope. We'll move on. All right, creating content. This is something that can be challenging, especially if you are doing a lot of posting, coming up with ideas on what it is that you're going to share with people. I like to I think that whatever you're posting some of it should be kind of thought about and not so off the cuff, that you've put some ideas together before you create the content. And then other times it's perfectly okay to just be out and about and see something and create a post around it. So some ideas on creating content, so daily life or series. So these are around a hashtag, so maybe like hashtag Market Prep Day, or the hashtag Throwback Thursday, or Flashback Friday, something like that, where it's going to give you the opportunity to post something at least once a week if you're doing kind of that Thursday or Friday idea. And it's also a good chance, those throwback or flashbacks, to share some past content. So if you have old farm photos or something that you want to share, then creating that type of series could be a fun one. Your life outside your business. So if you're a hockey coach, or any hobbies that you have, or trips that you're taking, those are all good content to include in your business as well. So that's really another connection point for people. If you're a coach or a 4-H leader or something like that, people take a lot of interest in that and kind of see you as a community leader, and maybe are able to relate. On the hobbies side, I'm sure a lot of you are connected around food, not just in the production, but also the preparation. So if you like to cook or bake, share recipes or kind of the process of what you do, if it's something that you like to make, or if you're really good at making. So if you're a good pie baker, then that's something that people may be interested in. Trips, I know that this isn't one that's been popular for folks lately, especially during COVID, but people are always interested in places that you go and are able to see, whether it's close to home or not. So even even if the only trips that you get to take are to other farms, if that's something that you can share with your followers, and that wherever you go, if there's other folks in your content, make sure it's okay to share it. But that's something that you can also create content around. If you're looking to build following, contests or giveaways are always a good option. One thing that I would remind folks on this is that if you're going to run a contest or a giveaway, is to always look up Instagram and Facebook, or whichever platform you're using, what their contest rules are. So they may have codes of conduct on contests and giveaways. So just give those a read through. I would link them, but they change quite frequently. So I don't want to give you an old link or wrong information. So just, you can Google it and or kind of dig around in the Facebook or Instagram codes. Ask me anything. So this is kind of a feature that you can use as an Instagram story. If you want to pop up a bubble on, today is your opportunity that you can ask me absolutely anything. And that this is an opportunity for people to ask curious questions. Sometimes they're not always appropriate. So if that happens, you can choose if you're going to add them into your feed. I would just caution you on that. I've seen some influencers that have had their accounts taken down because of Ask Me Anythings and things like that, because of the content, not that they were creating, but the people were sharing. So don't include something that may get you in trouble. But it's a fun one for people to just be, if they're wondering how many animals you have in your farm, or, something like that, it's an easy one. And it's an opportunity for you to share things you may not normally share because you don't think about it, but always be truthful in the answers that you give. That's a really important one, especially around the Ask Me Anything. People want the honest answers. Share content from other users. So, follow some other farms or other businesses or that you take an interest in and share content from them. How-to or tutorial videos. If you have a link, if it's a YouTube video or something like that, you can certainly embed links. Facebook and Instagram like people to stay in those platforms. So if you're sharing links from outside, then sometimes your reach may not be as big on those because they want you to stay in their app and watch their content. So if you can put it right into Facebook, or if you're going to do like a recording or something like that, if you want to go live and do a how-to video, like that's a good option for Instagram. Memes are a popular one. If you have some funny memes that you want to include, doing a customer spotlight. So if you have customers that are okay with sharing that, they purchased from you or something like that, or maybe it's just a supplier spotlight. If you have folks that you're buying from and that help support you in your business, that's something that you can share with permission. Behind the scenes, so if there's something going on at the farm, I farm as well, and I have a Facebook page for the farm and shared on the weekend about feeding cows in a snowstorm. So things like that aren't always happening, but people are interested in. And of course, recipes, hacks, or secrets. So if you have something that, is, whether it's a secret family recipe or an interesting way of doing something, hacks are pretty popular. And that's content that you can put into a reel, or if you're looking to have something that might go a little bit viral. I find hacks seem to creep in a lot on those. So picture, video, caption. So this is really a point for Facebook, because on Instagram you have to have a picture. So if you're posting on Facebook, it's always good to have a picture or a video along with your caption. So if you're just writing content, you're probably not getting into as many feeds as if you have a picture or a video, and it's an opportunity for engagement. So it's best to have a picture or a video that makes sense with what you're talking about. I see a lot of people, especially posting into groups, that if they want the answer to a question, they'll just put a random picture in, and it's just to get people's attention. So I don't recommend doing that. If you're going to post on your page, then make sure that the content, the picture that you're or video that you're putting in matches with what you're talking about. Captions are important. So this is really the chance for you to write out the details of something that you're doing. So if you're having an event, then make sure you have the details like date and time, the location, the cost. Add links so people can find more information. Facebook is great about links. If you put a link in and then people can just click on it and get taken to a website or to a registration form. Add sources if you're sharing information. So if you have a stat or something that you want to share, make sure that you're putting the link to where you found that information or who the author is or something like that. And it's important to write in your own brand or write as yourself. So as you share content over time, you're going to have your own voice. So don't copy and paste. If you can take content that you see and you want to share, try to rewrite it into your own voice when you're creating content. And watch for spelling or grammar. It's distracting to have grammar mistakes, and I've seen it a lot on social media. People call you out on it. So if you can avoid that, I mean, sometimes it's good engagement, but sometimes it's just annoying when people are nitpicking at grammar, and that's what they're focused on rather than what you've shared. I'm not really going to get into hashtags today. That will be for the next session, but include hashtags. I'm creating a resource on hashtags that are used in food and agriculture, and that will be available for the next session, but just to give you some ideas of possible hashtags you can use. The more popular hashtags, so those trending type hashtags, help get your content into more news feeds. So one that's coming up next month is Canada's Egg Day. So we have a hashtag for it. And last year it got to Twitter trending status, which is really great. So it's when the more people that are using that hashtag, then the more it's going to pop into news feeds if people are using hashtags as search. And add feeling to your post. So this is really the emotion side of it. We're not looking just for stats and information. We really want your opinion and your values to shine through when you're creating content. These are some examples that I pulled from Meet Your Farmer. So the one with the Real Farmers with Real Answers Reach Out to Us. We did a series of 3 of these. We call them 9-frame posts, and these were very popular. People really enjoyed seeing the different farmers together. This is something that you can also do. So create a message and get some fellow farmers or businesses together to help you create the content, tag them in the post. It just broadens your reach on things like that. You'll see a coloring contest one. That was for Canada's Egg Day. We'll be doing that again. So that's just, if you're gonna run something like that, to have a graphic around it. And then the Your Farmers, Your Nova Scotia, you'll see in the bottom middle. We have a whole series on that, and use the hashtag Your Farmers URNS around that. So that's how we would link kind of that logo with pictures and then a hashtag. So if you searched that hashtag, you'd be able to find all of the pictures and posts that we've done with that. Content calendar. So we've gone over like the types of content that you can create, but I really do recommend that you plan out some of your content. So, you can do it month by month, a monthly calendar highlighting what you want to post and share. It's perfectly fine to leave days with nothing. You don't have to have content every day. My January content calendar for Meet Your Farmer has some days where it does not have anything in it. And that's fine. There's no magic number that you need in terms of content. And content calendar is not something that you have to do, but if you have the time to kind of sit down for a few minutes every month and just jot down the types of things that you want to share. So really, farming is great to share on social media because of the seasonality of it. You have busy times and you have quiet times. So it's easy to share planting and harvesting and all of those different activities throughout the year. And it kind of, your content will kind of be created around what's happening on the farm. But then if you want to take a month and, maybe you're going to celebrate Nutrition Month or something like that, it's good to have the content calendar so you can plan out for those times as well. And I create my content calendars in a Word document and just create like an actual, it looks like a calendar with all of the days out, and I color code where the posts are going to go. So if it's on both social media sites, then it's one color. If it's just going to one or the other, then they get separate colors. And that just helps me know how much content's going out and where it's going to. And also, I mean, there are days where you see like 20 things that you want to post or repost, and then you go and there's days where or weeks that go by and you have nothing to kind of come up with. If you see something that you want to share and you've already shared a bunch that day, just make note of it in your content calendar that you want to come back and share that content. The sooner to when it was posted, the better, but there's really no reason why you can't go back and share something that was posted a little while ago by someone else. And it also helps their engagement and their reach as well. So your calendar should contain all of your social media platforms. So if you're on a whole bunch, so if you're on like 6 different platforms, it may be hard to kind of identify and keep track of what you're posting and where, but I would try to jot it down if you could. And then I'm going to get into Facebook Business Manager. So if you have pages, not just your personal profiles, but your pages, then there's a planner built into that as well. So you can actually see and schedule content in there. And that's another simple tool. You can actually just do it within the Business Manager app. And that's something you can download on your phone as well. If you can download the Business Manager app and keep that separate. You will get messages through there as well. So you may get double notifications on messages. So you want to make, if someone messages you on Instagram, it will come through your Instagram, and it will also come through the Facebook Business Manager page, but it's better to see it twice than not see it at all. I think that's all I had on content calendars. So we'll move on to scheduling content. So if you have some content that's ready to go and you want to make sure that it's getting out. So if it's a specific day, like Canada's Egg Day, for example, we'll schedule content to go out in advance and on the day. So it's already, the graphics are done, the messaging's already complete, and then it's going to get scheduled into, I use Facebook Business Manager, but there's also Hootsuite, there's Sprout Social, Zoho, and Buffer. So these are all scheduling content tools that you can use. Hootsuite, you can build other platforms in. So the reason why I use Facebook Business Manager is because we're on Instagram and Facebook. So you can do both of those platforms through there. But Hootsuite will allow you to put in Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. But to really have the best benefits with Hootsuite, it's a paid version, and it's about $50 a month for one user, because you can really schedule more content and have more users and things like that with a paid version of Hootsuite. Catherine, who's on the call today, uses that for the Federation. And I'm just I have another, point that I wanted to make. So the scheduling content is really important too, because if you are finding that you're not posting as much as you want, sit down and create some content and get it scheduled into your apps to go out. And that keeps your page from being stagnant. You want to keep posting to stay in app algorithms. I by no means know how Facebook runs their algorithms, but they really want people to be in their app. I mean, that's their main goal. So the more content you're creating and the more engagement that's happening, that's it's better for Facebook and it's better for you. So helping people stay engaged is definitely content driven. But of course, that doesn't mean you need to post every day. But I would suggest trying to post at least once a week. Now, of course, it takes the spontaneity out of posting real life stuff, but don't worry if you've scheduled something and then something comes up on the farm that you really want to share, go in and reschedule it, or have 2 posts that day or multiple posts that day. You may not get the engagement or the reach on those that you normally would, or one may have a lot and one may have not much. Share it again later if it didn't do as well, or if you want people to see it more. But I find scheduling content does take the pressure off to be creative. So if you've come up with a few ideas and you want to create content, then sit down and do it and get it scheduled. And if you're really busy, then it means that you don't have to focus on, your social media pages when you have a lot of other things going on, if you've got some content scheduled. But you do need to be ready for conversation. So if you have some posts that are scheduled to go out and people are commenting on them or engaging with them, you do need to take the time to just either even, if it's a comment, like the comment or write something quick back. But if it's a question and it needs an answer, you really need to be available to be able to do that. So I'm just going to go into our Facebook Business Manager for a second because we're getting short on time.
There is also a question in the chat.
Okay, I'm now off. So do I have a list of which egg products is promoted each month? I don't, but that's something that I'm going to be working on. So Nutrition Month, Dairy Month, National Chicken Month, all of those things. It's on my list of resources to create. Because I find myself, I miss things like that too. It gets to be the end of the month and oh my goodness, I didn't do enough for, whichever month was going on.
Well, I was just thinking too, it would be useful. We're beef, sheep and eggs, but it doesn't mean that I can't be promoting
dairy
Christmas trees, right? Or dairy or goats or whatever, and even like different when egg safety days are, or all those different ones. So
yeah, Canadian Egg Literacy Month, all of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's something that we will I'll make note of, and I've got a few more resources that I want to do before the end of the year.
Awesome.
Any resources that are up get put onto the Public Trust Resources page from the Federation. Okay. I'm going to include some links to some of that stuff in our follow-up email. I'm going to send out the slides from today, and I have some links on some things that I just want you to see that we already have. And then if you're looking for other stuff, there's more resources there too.
Excellent, thanks.
Catherine just popped it in the chat there too, msfa-fane.ca/public trust. So I'm just going to go into the Facebook Business Manager for just a second, and then we'll wrap up. All right. So this is the Meet Your Farmers Facebook Business Suite. This is what it looks on the desktop. It looks slightly different if you're using the mobile app, but it gives you home, notifications, inbox. So if you're talking back and forth to people, this is like personal messages. It's not something that would pop up as a comment on your posts. Those are held in notifications. But if someone had a question and kind of put it to your inbox, kind of like email, that's where it would live. Sorry, robot alarm. The one sound I can't turn off on my phone, and it happens all the time. Posts and stories live here. So when I click on this, this shows published posts and then scheduled posts. So you can see I don't have any scheduled posts in. This is something that I normally do kind of the first of the week, every couple of weeks. So if I was going to go in and create a post, I can schedule this in. I click schedule post. And it gives me the option to click the date and the time right down to the minute on what I want. And then, so if I click that I wanted to go at 2 o'clock this afternoon, I can also pick the placement. So if I want Meet Your Farmer on Facebook and Instagram, or one or the other, you can pick both or just one. It gives you what it's going to look like. So if I was going to add a photo and put some text in, It comes over and it gives you what it's going to look like on the desktop or your mobile newsfeed for Facebook and Instagram. So this is a really helpful tool when you're looking to schedule content. The Facebook Business Manager is definitely an easy way to do it. And then the planner, so it gives you a calendar view week by week, or you can look at it for the month. So you can see for January, this is the content that has gone out from Meet Your Farmer. Posts, and I don't know if it has stories, but you can also schedule stories for Instagram and Facebook this way. So stories are something that you can definitely have multiple stories going on Instagram per day. Really, more stories the better, because it does keep people kind of coming back. And it's one of those things that if you click on to watch somebody's story, if you're following them on Instagram, it just keeps going and it will go through all of the people that have posted stories for the day. So even if they weren't necessarily looking for you, they may find stories if they follow you. So that's another benefit to stories, and you can schedule those. So if you want to schedule post or story, or you can schedule an ad if you're looking to do a paid boost. This is actually coming up as a paid boost for an event that we have coming up. And yeah, look, this is what stories look like. This is for all the sunrise pictures that were posted this morning. I shared those on Instagram and Facebook stories. So there's an ad section. So if you are looking to pay to boost something, you can take a look at that. Facebook does do a good job of kind of showing you how many people it reached, the interactions, the audience, so the ages, where they were, things like that. And then this is insights. I'm not really going to get into this today. We'll take a look at that another time. I really wanted to kind of show you the planner, a week and a month view, and then how you can create content. So if you want to just post right away, you can create a post, or you can schedule it and pick a different time. It also gives you optimal times. So the more you use the app, and it kind of tracks when people are engaging the most. So for today, there's no optimal times for Meet Your Farmer. Our times are usually later in the week and later in the day. So that's something that I've kind of been shifting. I was always a morning post person, but more afternoon or evening content, kind of based on when your audience is online and in the app. It's kind of what it gives you for that. Any questions in here? Hootsuite's quite similar. It gives you kind of that planner grid. So if you're creating content, you would click on the day that you want to put it in. And then again, you click on the different apps that you want it to go into. And it does have a lot more if you're on YouTube and LinkedIn and those apps. It's a good one to use because it can do all of your social media at one time, not just the Facebook and Instagrams. And I'm just going to wrap up our slideshow. So it's good to be prepared on what you're posting. And this is really important, and it comes down to doing the right thing. So it's important that you take a look at your operation and that you're open and honest with yourself. Am I doing the right things? So what parts of my farm or my business am I unsure or embarrassed to share? So, think about those places that if you had a group of people come to do a farm tour, that you would be like, I don't really want to share this today because I didn't get that cleaned or I don't have that ready. Those are areas of your farm where you don't need to post on social media. It's not because you're trying to hide it. It is because social media is a really hard place to have a discussion to talk about it. So when you're sharing something, you want to be prepared that what you're sharing is appropriate and that you have the time to have the engagement. And also have the facts to back up what you're saying. So if you're pulling out information from somewhere else, make sure that you have the sources of where you got that. Another thing to keep in mind is have permission from others. So if there's people in your posts that aren't part of your firm or your business, make sure that you've asked if it's okay that you can share that on social media, especially if you're going to tag them in it, because you really don't want to see yourself on social media when you didn't think you were going to be there. So have permission. Get your links and your tags ready. So if there's another business that you want to highlight, make sure that the tag is correct. So that's when you're using the @ and their name, which is important on Facebook too. I've noticed that some pages don't have a name. It would just be a link. And so if you are on Facebook, just make sure that when you go in that on your profile and below your name, you're seeing in smaller font what your name is coming up of. If you don't see one, then you don't have that @ and it's a link to get people onto your page. And have time to respond to comments or questions. You don't build trust if you don't engage, and that's a really important point. Share your code of conduct. So share how you're going to treat others on your page and how they should treat you. So that means that if you don't, hurtful comments or swearing or anything like that, if you're not going to tolerate it, it's not how you're going to have your page, then you can put that into your code of conduct and build that into your page. And that means that you can block or delete harmful or hurtful comments and block users. So if you have someone that's really giving you a hard time, or there's an activist that has found something and is just unrelentless, you can't have a conversation, then it's okay to block or delete the comments and the users. It's your page, it's your rules. And I think it's important that you share what that's going to be, and that's also part of your values. How you're going to treat others and how you expect to be treated. This is more on Instagram, the spam. Sometimes you'll get spam comments coming on, like the promoted ad, or those type of people that are commenting. You can delete those comments and try to block those users as well. It's not helpful on your page. Now, after all of this, if you're saying social media is not for me, that's okay. It's not for everyone. You do not need to be on social media. But if you feel like it's really a good opportunity for your business, you can hire someone to manage your social media for you. There are professionals out there that do content generation and are there to kind of interact on your behalf. But that means you're going to have a relationship with that person and you're going to be helping to feed them content. But use other opportunities. So host tours on your firms, participate in agriculture in the classroom, write editorials for the newspaper, talk to people in the grocery store, at your church, or in a parent group, and follow others and support them. So if you have a personal Facebook page, but you don't want to have a business one, like and follow the content of others, and it's a help to them as well. And enjoy yourself. Social media is meant to be fun, engaging, and social. So let it be a creative outlet for you and enjoy yourself on there. It shouldn't be something that you feel pressure on. If you want to continue on these sessions, we're having another one on Monday, February 14th, and one on Monday, March 14th. Monday, February 14th, we're talking about tools for graphic design using hashtags and keywords, and I have some Your Farmers, Your Nova Scotia campaign material information. And then the last one is really on metrics and engagement, advertising, and using an influencer. So it's the more kind of advanced behind the scenes look at what you're doing online. If you have any questions at any time on any of this information, you can reach out to either myself or Catherine here at the office. Those are our cell numbers, and that will be included in the information that I send you at the end. So you don't have to worry about writing that down right now. Are there questions? For the next two sessions, the registration that you used for today won't get you onto those ones. Catherine's popped those, the next two links to register into the chat. So it will be another Zoom link for those, not the same one. And I'll put the in the follow-up email as well. No questions? Tyler, you look like you want to say something.
I was just thinking, I guess, some questions. What are your thoughts about slideshows on Facebook? Like, is that a practical kind of thing? Is it used, or is a video a better approach?
Videos are often something to get more engagement. So if you're looking to kind of broaden your audience, I would say a video. And you don't have to be in front of the video. You know, if you have slides that you want to turn into a video and then have you talking about what's happening in the slides, that's a perfectly fine way of doing it. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. I know that's kind of an obstacle for some people, is that I don't want to be in front of the camera, and you don't have to be. You know, you can show parts of your farm without always being the one that's on there. It's good to show it every once in a while so people can know the face that they are interacting with, but it's not a requirement for every post or every piece of information to have you in it. But yeah, to just post pictures or slides, it's not as engaging as a video. And if you are creating a video, then it's something that if you can upload it into Facebook rather than like a YouTube link, that's what Facebook likes, for example, or Instagram. If they want you to keep you in that app, so your reach is usually higher on those types of content, but play around with it. So if you are, I would say, like, create some different types of content and just see what resonates with your audience and what's getting the most bang for the buck that you're putting in, right? So it's a nice thing about social media. You can do a lot and it doesn't have to cost a lot.
I guess one more question about so Facebook also has, you know, a sort of a storefront option, you know, to market and move product. And do you feel that that's a good tool, or is it better just to link to, you know, a separate online store?
You have to be able to handle whatever types of stores that you have. So if you can integrate it into what you already have, then yes. But if it's making a lot more work for you in terms of managing the back end of your inventory and making sure that you have the product on hand, I wouldn't go that route. Just share at any opportunity you have for an existing store. I don't really have the knowledge on that, and if it's something that you're interested in, I would refer you to a couple of other folks for that. Nicole Burkhardt has more experience in kind of that online marketing piece, and she would be one that I can pass her contact information on to you if you really kind of want to see what maybe some of these online sales.
She had presented during the Young Farmers marketing thing that Tyler was a part of. I do remember that.
Yeah. And I also saw that Canadian Young Farmers is offering a free social media workshop. So if you're a member of Canadian Young Farmers Forum, an email went out, I think it was yesterday, utensil.ca, the one that Grow Your Brand that we have the seats for, are doing a social media training series. There's quite a few sessions involved with it. And there's self-directed learning, and then there is some coffee chats, and then there's some actual presentations that are going to happen online, like via Zoom. And that's probably another opportunity too, to kind of see the online sales part. So if you're under 40 and a member of Canadian Young Farmers, that one's free.
No, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. No other questions? If anyone's interested in kind of working with Meet Your Farmer, then we're always looking for Your Farmers, Your Nova Scotia profiles and sharing content from others. We don't create a lot of content here. It's really based on events that are happening and what's happening in the industry. So I'm always looking for things that I can share. So if you have something coming up, send it to me, and then I can put it in my content calendar and make sure that it gets in. So All right, if there's nothing else, I'm going to just stop the recording and